this journey's about.
Recording.
All right, here we go. I can't wait to open this beer. I am thirsty.
Brah, me dos.
I personally like it. I hope you like it too. It's in my top 5.
I like it as well.
I can never remember if it's
Warning, the Catholic Man Show is about to begin. If you're looking for a dull, feel-good religion, or clap your hands, sit around the campfire kumbaya, you've come to the wrong place. We are dealing with toxic levels of authentic masculinity. I would say good luck, but luck is for pagans.
I haven't quite figured out the theology of luck. I haven't quite figured out the theology of luck. Not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure about that.
what?
And welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We are on the Lord's team, the winning side. So raise your glass. Adam Minahan here, sitting with David Niles to my right. To my left is my good friend, our good friend. Sorry, I was being selfish again, not including everybody else, but our good friend, David Williams. David, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to have you. I love having you on the show. Anytime that you're here in Tulsa, it gets me excited because I hope that we get to record with you.
Awesome.
Big fan of you and all the things that you have in store for us that we'll be talking about tonight.
Awesome. I'm a big fan of you two. So it's good to be with you again. I always look forward to seeing
hug?
you.
I feel like
we can hug.
Let's rain check the hug.
We'll rain check the hug.
But I do want to do it later.
We'll make it a coupon.
Okay.
We'll make it a coupon. Okay. Redeemable.
You know what? I owe you.
Expires in the next year. We'll figure it out.
We got.
It's good to be with you guys.
Yeah, we got Juan on the buttons. We got Jimbo Baggins sitting at the
door.
At the door. No one can break in.
Security.
His bagginsness, Jimbo.
Jimbo, great to see you.
I just like to make up a new nickname for Jim
every time
I refer to him.
It's good.
Or just maybe expand it a little bit. You know?
Just keep adding to.
It's multifaceted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
That's exactly right.
You know, what is Jim? You know?
you gotta try
what is
another
in his
every
essence, the essence of Jim.
Can the essence of Jim, can it be confined to one name? I don't think so.
You gotta try it every week.
I doubt it.
That's true. Isn't it the way our wives are too, though? It's like as soon as you think that you can try to find a way to describe, it's like forget about it.
Right.
Maybe after the 45th
I just use
Valentine's
holy
card.
and pretty.
Holy and pretty. That's a good way to start.
That's where I start.
Yeah.
And then kind of work my way down from there.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You brought the drink this evening,
I did.
which I'm very excited about.
Senior Williams.
I'm
yes.
thirsty. Why don't you tell us a little bit about
this? This is the
42.
This is the 4204 Main Street. This is the pecan brown ale, brewed with pecans. It's a 5.5 out of Belleville, Illinois, just about 20 minutes south of where I lived. It is a microbrewery established in 2014, and this is one of the house favorites. This actually happens to be one of my house favorites, and so that's why. Speaking of being selfish, I brought it down because I'm selfish. And
Indubitably.
I wanted to drink.
You can't say it's selfish whenever you're sharing.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think
that's
it's
true.
selfish if you're bringing it for other people to drink.
This is definitely in my top 5 of the ones that I've tried in my lifetime.
Top 5, wow.
And
it's awesome that we're having a beer. Like, we haven't had a beer on the Catholic
Dude,
Man
it's
Show
been
in
so
a long
It's
time.
been so long.
Well, good. I hope you enjoy.
It's
got some good hints. I like to drink this while I'm grilling.
Ooh,
It's
love
like my favorite
beers.
grilling beer.
You know what?
So
That
that's what
is.
that is.
I'm so glad you brought that up
This is
because
something
I
we need to
do
discuss.
have,
Yeah.
like, in my mind, this is a grilling beer, and I have never said that out loud to anybody, but I do have certain beers in my life.
Yeah.
They're like, look, I have beers in my life, okay, that I have. This is for grilling. These beers are for grilling.
And this is the David Williams grill beer. It's the only one I like while I grill.
Okay.
So
Okay, we're on the
is where
Lord's
we're at.
I'm
team.
glad to know it now. The winning side. So raise your glass.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So it says it's one of the house favorites. On the can, it says one of the house favorites, so
Yes.
that's always a good,
Of the
good
brewery.
sign.
There we go.
It says, this light-bodied brown ale features in-house roasted pecans, a slightly sweet finish, and incredible drinkability. We are sure you will go nuts for it.
Oh, wow.
Nuts.
Yeah.
What do they say? The guy that said, I'm going on an all almond diet. It's just nuts. You know. Yeah, but it is nuts.
That is really nice.
Isn't that great?
That is nice. It's nutty.
It is nutty. And if you go to Metro East, across the river, there's a couple places on the Missouri side of the river. In the Metro East area, you can find this on tap, and then otherwise, it's in the can, and it's the silver can with the slapped on.
I have
label.
not quite had a beer like that before, and I really like that.
Well, good. I'm glad you like it.
Brown ales, they don't get a lot of attention.
They don't.
They've been over triumphed
The
over like IPA and sour beers.
IPAs get all sour beers are really they're coming in strong, and I do
good.
like them.
IPAs are good.
IPAs are good. An IPA though gets so much attention, and you could be an IPA in quotes and be totally different from another IPA.
I think the IPAs are getting a little crazy.
I think that they need to be they need to be subdivided into a further.
They've got too crazy.
Right. This is. You want to know why this is my grill beer though?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Because it helps me. It's so full of flavor, and usually if I'm cooking for my wife or for extended family, and it's kind of super serious business. Like I'm not just trying stuff out. I've got to deliver.
Right.
And it's got to be the right temperature.
Yeah. Like the pressure's on.
You got to focus.
Yeah.
And so this helps me focus. It's
Dude, we talked about this last week.
This tastes
on our
fantastic.
episode.
And so I need to make sure that tastes fantastic just like this. It really, it's kind of a psychological thing. If I just pop whatever, then it's going to be whatever off the grill. But this makes it, I don't know.
Focuses.
It's my little secret.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
I do really like it.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's a good beer.
Like
It's a good beer.
I'm gonna go home and grill something right now.
There you go.
Please don't. We have to finish this episode.
I mean, when we're done.
Okay.
I'm gonna light up the grill at 11 p.m.
That'd
when
be
we
awesome.
get home. When I get home.
Hey, David, do you know what do you know about mutton busting?
I don't know anything about mutton busting.
Dude.
Yeah, are you talking about mutton like the sheep?
Yes.
Sheep meat?
Yeah,
No,
sheep.
I know what mutton is.
Okay.
But never heard mutton busting.
So this weekend, my son, we went down to
David was not raised here in Oklahoma. So
Right. Okay, so
that's okay.
down in southeast
Yeah.
Oklahoma, my father-in-law has some land. We went to a rodeo,
Oh, nice.
and my boys rode sheep.
Okay.
So that's what they call mutton
Mutton
busting.
busting. Okay.
Okay, so
It's like,
Luke,
like noodling, but with sheep.
well, they actually did noodle too.
They
They
noodled too.
noodled
Okay.
this weekend.
Did
as
they?
Well, I mean, there was a noodling hole. The catfish weren't in there. It's too hot. Like
Okay.
they'd moved on.
Anyway, back to mutton busting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Luke and Jude both mutton busted this weekend, and it was epic, dude.
So they're riding sheep.
So yeah. So what happens is
that's
you put them
great.
in the gates, like just like you're riding a bull.
Yeah.
And you put the kid over on top of them. You say, "Hang on," and they open the gate, and the sheep takes off, and they have an 8-second timer. And
No kidding.
and yeah, and they do this whole thing, and so
that's awesome.
so last year they did it. And, they didn't know what the heck they were doing, right? And they were trying to figure out they were nervous, scared, timid. They didn't know what to expect. Never been in front of a sheep before in their life.
Right.
They lasted less than a second. Like, doors open, boom, fall off, right? And but they
like
got
me on the water skis today. it's been 10
Do you
years.
slalom or do you?
Well, no, the last time I was on water skis for a decent amount of time was about 10 years ago. And so they say muscle memory. And I'm like, okay, I'm just.
that's what they say. That's what
they
Those
say.
are words that
But
people
now
use.
Right now, I realize 10 years later there is not nearly as much muscle and there's no memory. So it's just.
My muscles have dementia,
I
and they
was
don't.
I was up for a
Muscle
second.
dementia,
Yeah, I was up for a second. So did they pop back up? I mean.
Yeah. So
didn't
they
have to
pop
fall
back
too
up.
far.
So,
Yeah,
but so this year, we told them they're going, and so they started talking a little smack to each other, right?
So they've already done this before.
They did it
And
once
they're-
last
and they're
year.
going back. Okay.
Yeah. So this year they're
they
going
know.
So
back.
they don't get like a second heat. Or
No. It's a one and done deal.
You get
'cause
one
shot.
There are a lot of kids that are wanting to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a ramp up. Like, okay, we're gonna.
You get one
gonna
shot,
do this.
one
Yeah.
opportunity to seek everything you've ever wanted. One
Can you
moment to
capture it?
Yeah. So they kind of start talking a little trash back and forth to each other. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you. So Luke gets up first. He goes first, and he holds on. And I forgot to I told him to keep his head in the middle of the sheep.
Yeah.
And he kind of put it to the side of the sheep.
It's almost
to the
like he was
right.
putting the back of his head in the middle of the sheep.
And so
Yeah.
you're already off center. You're
And you can hear that old guy in the back, like, "Well, in my mutton busting days, I want to start them off
Right.
like
Yeah,
that."
Back
Yeah.
in my day,
right.
We did mutton bust on the sheep.
Luke's sheep takes off. He hangs on about 3 seconds, which is
Well, that's great.
hey, that's way better than last year.
300% better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
That's
Jude
awesome.
Jude starts getting pumped up right beforehand, right?
Okay.
He's laser focused compared to last year. Like last year, he was very timid. He didn't know what to do.
Right.
This year, he's laser focused,
smacking himself in the
Like,
face.
he is ready to go. And so I'm like, you ready? And it's kind of like this monumental moment of
got the powder.
of like setting him down into the gate. You're
You
like,
ready? Don't talk to me, Dad.
Yeah, yeah. And so he gets on there, and they're like, Jude Minahan from Tulsa, Oklahoma. They say it over the intercom. Opens the gates. This sheep takes off. I mean, faster than any other sheeps that were going. I mean, takes off. But Jude
it was a fast sheep.
It was a fast sheep.
Wow.
Jude holds on like about 3.5 seconds.
So he kind of snuck it in.
So he
won.
He won.
That's awesome.
But if you ask Luke, they tied.
Well, and that gives a good little competitive edge. It's like they tied the first year, right?
Right, yeah.
Now
yeah.
we've got a little bit of, and that back and
forth.
forth. It's going to continue.
Yeah,
What a great,
but it was so much fun.
Oh, that is so
and then
cool.
and then we went to we did some tubing as well, and so there and the comp. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun to see your kids like getting competitive with one another and pushing each other.
It is. It makes you wonder like what Jacob had to deal with his 12 sons and. Well, that we kind of know that got a little heated, but it is.
Things got a little.
But I've got 5.
Got a little out of hand, I think.
Yeah.
I've got 5 sons, and there's 20 relationships between the 5 of them, and so it's n times n minus 1, right? So it's just at any given moment there's encouragement, there's picking a guy up, there's dusting him off, and then there's that chapping each other, and then there's just a ton of moments where Daddy has to sit him down and go, "Hey guys, not a problem being competitive and going after it, but like." We're not on ESPN2, and nobody's ever going to remember that you won the soccer game by 1 goal. It's okay, but boy, it's just built into the man.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
It's so
much fun. I mean, it carries over to fishing.
It does.
To
everything.
Every
That's right.
aspect, and like they're finally getting to that age where it's just
The
cool.
key is like, can you like get them to carry it into like who can go to sleep first?
Yeah.
Right.
I can.
Who can genuflect the fastest?
Right.
Right. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We're here with David Williams. We'll be right back.
I love the pecan in here.
Yeah,
You can really get the pecan.
But it's
know
subtle.
why.
It's not like over. It's not
no,
like
no, it's not overpowering, but it's
Yeah.
there.
What I love about this is that nobody knows about it, but now that it's been on your show,
Now it's
over.
now at least 5 people.
At least,
Right,
more
yeah.
than that now.
Well,
but no,
there's-
it's so
21 watching us right
good. And
now.
I'll be honest, I was, I'm glad to see it growing and promise. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, it's 22.
Does it get everybody's approval?
Yeah, totally.
I get a bit of smoke.
Yeah,
No, that's because you're smoking a pipe.
that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does it taste good while you're
it's
smoking?
good.
Okay, good. That's the key.
Okay.
It's like,
Busted.
wow, did you get
That's
some
fun.
smoke out of there? It's like, oh yeah, he's smoking a pipe.
Yeah. It's like we got these air filters, basically so Juan could smoke during our.
I should have known what mutton busting is because I grew up 45 miles south of Cheyenne, which is the rodeo
That's like
capital of the world, right? So I
Right.
should have known what that was.
That's
So you're
all
from
right.
I'm so
Wyoming.
sorry. Well, I'm from Colorado, so I'm sorry for everybody that lives in Colorado. I should have known better, but
No. That's all right.
I come from like Greeley Stampede and
Yeah.
Palermo County Fair, Weld County Fair. We're all there. I should have known what it was.
So my
everybody
father-in-law
know.
grew up in Casper, Wyoming. So I've
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
I've been there.
love
I've seen the corral where the original,
Yeah.
the first rodeo was.
My mom and dad have a cabin up in northern Colorado, which is just south of the Wyoming border. So we spent a lot of time up in there hunting. And
Wyoming
all
is
sorts
a
of fun
beautiful
stuff.
state.
It is. It's beautiful.
I don't get why it's so sparsely populated.
I don't either. It's lovely. It really is.
And
they probably
Everybody
like it
in
that way,
Wyoming is like really upset that you're promoting it because
Yeah,
they're like,
they love it that way,
Please
though.
keep people
Right.
out of here.
Yeah, because they're a lot closer to California than we are.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cheyenne, the Diocese of Cheyenne is the whole state.
Yeah.
So,
And they have a great Catholic university there.
yeah, they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
Which
it's
one?
like legit.
It's legit.
What is it?
They got some.
Is it Wyoming
yeah.
Catholic? Is that
They
what
got
it's
some
called?
mystic monks up in there, and
Like the
all sorts of
first
stuff.
the first 2 weeks of college
Uh-huh.
or camp, you go camping.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's really.
I mean, and it's like-
it's a great college.
It's not like wimpy camping. It's like
yeah,
you're camping, don't die.
yeah. Everybody that's associated with that
People,
with
they
that
don't.
school,
Nobody
I try to
dies.
use
legit.
that rule
Nobody
of thumb
dies,
for
but-
like, everything really. You're doing this, don't die.
like when you're trying to kill a spider.
I mean,
know?
I now have flamethrowers.
That's right.
So
I mean,
I don't
the
have to
thing
really
is,
worry
it
about
was a
that.
comedian. I said it really well. It was like, like ladies, we understand we got to kill stuff for you, but like anytime you ask us to kill a spider, internally, we're still thinking to ourselves, please don't jump out at me while I try to hit you. You know, it's like we still have that.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. And then we killed him.
Because you come in and you go like,
yeah. Internally, we are just as frightened, but we just can't show it.
yeah,
It's okay.
we have to look heroic.
We do, and we deliver occasionally.
Let's keep rolling.
I'm
So
ready.
we'll touch base on this, but you want to jump into the topic this
Yeah,
segment?
we got a lot to talk about. So this
Yeah.
is just a touch. I do have a promo code that's just for your listeners now and for the rest of July. So
Okay.
if you're watching live now, or if you've got if people hop on later and listen to it for the whole month of July, you can get $7 off at SaintCards.com.
Sweet. I'll add that to our show notes as well.
Yeah,
Cool.
using the code MANSHOW7, all caps. So I'll plug it a
7.
couple more
Nice.
times.
Cool.
MANSHOW7. Just because
MANSHOW
it's
7.
the 7th month, it's $7 off.
It's the Man Show.
Seven's a good Catholic number.
Yes.
It is.
If I buy a set of cards,
Perfect
Yes.
number.
can you sign
No, 3
every
is.
single one of them
Can I sign them?
individually?
All of them.
Do you want them? Do you want me to sign over the pictures of the saints,
No, just in the back.
or on the back?
In the back.
I will.
You can't sign the back because then you could memorize the signature of each card.
But my signature, yeah, that's true, because it's not exactly the same every
Right.
time. I'll get a signature stamp for one. Just hit it the same time every. Yeah, just let me know. Anything for you. Yeah, but we can plug this fast. I mean, it doesn't need to go on
well,
and on.
I think we
but-
should introduce SaintCards again
Yeah, I can point out maybe some what the colors mean
briefly,
and, what
and
it is,
then talk about what it is you've got going on now.
that sounds good. And then we'll get into the topic because we got a lot to talk about there.
Okay,
I mean, the duties of parents. So don't we want to know what they are?
I do.
I do.
I feel like
I'm a
somebody better tell
parent,
me.
so
I feel like I can take a
I
stab
need
at
that.
it. But
somebody
the
better.
church,
Somebody better tell me.
The church tells us, gives us 5 duties. It's awesome.
Here we go.
Pamela's chuckling to herself. You said duty. That's what she's thinking. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles, here with Adam Minahan and David Williams, Juan Posada, and Jimbo Baggins. We're talking
Jimothy.
Jimberly. We're going to be talking about the 5 duties of parents, according to the Catechism. But before we do that, we want to talk a little bit about a game that's revolutionizing Catholic families across the United States of America and elsewhere
beyond.
and elsewhere.
Maybe even on Mars.
A game
Maybe.
of which we have the creator with us today, Mr. David Williams. SaintCards. SaintCards.com. SaintCards.com.
SaintCards.com. Or you can go SaintCard.com if you don't like plural words.
Yeah, if you
You own the
prefer
same-
like
all-
the
and you
the
still get there.
maximum efficiency
Yeah,
path.
it's a redirect. But
We
yeah.
have a redirect of cheersToJesus.com.
We did that
redirect.
just because some people don't like plural words. They like Saint Cards. So it's like, well, we'll get you there.
We can get you there.
We can
yeah.
get you there. But Saint Cards is the official, like on the back of the card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so SaintCards, if you are new to the Catholic Man Show, or if you just don't know about it, is like a really advanced game of Uno, kind of, where you're playing with saints.
Yeah.
Saint cards. I mean, it's like that's what it is.
That's what it is. I mean,
Cards.
it is in its basic form. You're just using colors and numbers and symbols, and you've got them in your hand, and you're just trying to match them with the top card of the deck. The more matches you find, which is basically similarities that you find between the saints, maybe the same feast day, or the same, they're both lay people, or they're both from Western Europe. We got geography, religious orders, different callings, doctors of the church, so on and so forth. And so the more matches you make, the more treasure you receive. And then the person at the end of the game that has the most treasure gets to gather all the treasure at the table and place it on the Jesus
At
card.
the foot of Jesus.
At the foot
yes.
of Jesus. Right?
That when I heard this, that was the moment where I was like, I was like, okay, I kind of like this game. And then it was like, oh, and the person who wins collects all the treasure and lays them at the
Right.
foot of Jesus.
And-
I was like, I have to have it.
Yeah,
Ah!
and that is my wife's idea, so she gets all the credit. And my wife and I, it's a whole family, small Catholic family business. We produce them, we design them, we pack them, we ship them straight from our home there in the
That's
rolling
very
farmlands
awesome.
of Illinois. So it's a family effort. But it really is meant. Honestly, as a convert, I didn't know any saints. I knew Saint Augustine, but then
Right.
I had to repronounce his name. So even the saint I knew, I had to start pronouncing his name differently. So anyway, so I was like, I want to get to know the saint. So I started keeping stuff in spreadsheets, and then my wife was like, it'd be really great. I mean, it's neat that you're learning all this stuff about the saints, but can you find a way to get it in a format to where the kids can learn? And so now the kids, they know Uno. And so you don't even really need to know what the colors and symbols mean to get started. You just need to be able to observe, okay, there's 2 chalices. Well, we're in the month of July now, which is the month of the precious blood. In fact, the traditional feast of the precious blood is on July the 1st to kick off the month. So there's a chalice there for July. So now you've learned that. Now every time you see a saint card with a chalice on it, feast month July.
It's July.
Boom.
And in fact, if you're a patron of the Catholic Man Show, we had a professional audio recording of Pope John the 23rd did a promotion of the devotion of the Most Precious Blood.
Yes.
He wrote about it, and we had that recorded, and it's now for all of our patrons.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is the month that every month, and if you didn't know this already, every month has a focus, right, that the church gives. Obviously we have all sorts of saints feasts, and depending on where ordinary time hits, I mean, it could hit before or after the month, but generally speaking, July is given to the precious blood. And so it does invoke that question, like, why the precious blood and not, the body, and what's going on here? And so those are good. There's articles that are hitting blogs right now on it, and highly encourage you to get to know that. But yeah, every time you see a chalice, that means their feast month is in the month of July, like, Saint Ludovico, which is his real name, Louis, and Marie Azalie Martin, which is a saint card that's in our new Where Two or More Are Gathered expansion that's coming out.
Adam, you can't hold it forward
in September.
I forget,
you got to hold it back.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is like a collectible card game. So there's the base game that you can go on and buy to get started with, and then if you've already got your collection, like Mr. Spencer over here, and you want to kind of continue to add to it, it's a collectible card game. So every expansion that you buy features different saints, different cool things that you can do with them, like the stigmatists. You can actually get a stigmata on your hand, and
I really like
lots of cool things, right? So we've got a whole host of I think it's over I can't remember the exact number, but over 200 new saints that we're coming out with in September, along with quiz cards, so that you can show pictures to your kids without the details, and they're like, oh, I know who that is. And then you got the details on the other side as the parent, like, I already know. Because it's on
wrong.
It's on this. That's not right. Yeah, keep trying, kid.
You wish.
But then you have your little 4-year-olds that are like, St. Thomas Aquinas was born in the 13th century and died in the 13th century, and you're like, wow. And he's a doctor of the church. They don't even know what a doctor of the church is, but you can teach them that later.
Yeah. It'll come.
Yeah.
But it's meant to be just a cool family thing that gathers 4 to 104-year-olds together. You can have a lot of fun. It's 10-15 minutes to play, so you're not like fighting.
It's not Monopoly.
It's not Monopoly. You're not fighting with each other at the end.
Yeah.
And even if you are fighting, it's all for Jesus, right? So you just kind of give it to Jesus at the end.
Yeah, and what I like is that it tricks you into learning about the saints, whether you want to or not. You will. You can't help it.
Hopefully you want to learn about the saints.
Hopefully you do.
But even if you don't, you're still going to learn something.
Right.
You can't get it out of your head.
And you have a code.
Yeah, we have a code. So if you're watching this or listening for the entire month of July, the month of the Precious Blood, 2020, if you use the code MANSHOW7, so it's MANSHOW, the number 7, so it's basically 8 digits, that will give you an additional $5 off. And we already have...
Or $7 off.
Sorry, an additional $7 off.
Yeah.
We already have, we already have discounts, 5% all the way up to 30% for different things. And then also free shipping already. And then this just gives you another $7 off.
Perfect.
For just for patronizing you guys. So if you're listening for the month of July, even if it's July 31st and you're listening to this for the first time, you can use that code and get $7 off.
I want you to know, David, that I have developed the skill of shuffling all of the cards at the same time. I can actually shuffle all the saint cards at once.
Can you make a video of that?
Yeah.
And send it to me? I want to put that on the website because it's getting difficult for people.
It is.
It's too. Yeah. There's too many.
I had to set it aside and say, you know what, this is a goal that's outside my reach. And slowly, one day I figured out that's what you have to do.
Yeah. I want a video of it. Like just send me the video.
I can.
I don't think anybody's done it yet.
Okay.
So
I do it all the time. Yeah. So I'll show you.
Let's jump into the topic, which was something that you suggested. I thought it was a great suggestion. I'll let you kind of spearhead it.
Yeah, I mean, so I was just really over the last couple of months meditating on certain portions of the catechism. The catechism is tricky.
Wait, I have one more St. Cards question.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Why are there orange and purple here?
So these
Are these different values?
These are carnelian treasures. Those are worth 2.
Oh, really?
But it's particular for the bilocators expansion.
I like it.
So you can keep it for the end, and it's worth 2, but you can use it to do different things during the game too.
No kidding.
Draw cards and all that. Yeah. Read the instructions.
Okay, and the purple?
I'm going to leave it with you and
Just-
Pamela.
just-
so
What about the purple?
Just
The
figure
purple's
it out.
worth-
Read it yourself.
purple's worth 50.
Are you serious?
It's worth 50.
I want one.
Okay.
I want that.
We'll see what we can do. But anyway, so the catechism is one of those things, like if you read it like a book, there's too much here, right? So there's just every single paragraph
Let me
really
sum
is
up.
just chock full, right?
It's like they're all like every paragraph is a purple nugget.
It is
It's like it's worth 50 each one.
it's worth 50, right? And so
That's
the
the most.
family in God's plan is the main header, and then it goes through other headers, the family and society and all this, right? The duties of family members, but then in particular, in the duties of family members, it talks about the duties of children, which as parents, we often like to look and see what is their duty. Let me remind them about what their duty is. Really what we should do, though, is start with paragraph 2221, which is really easy to remember.
Yeah.
If you can't remember that, then just remember 2222, kind of like those lawyers' billboards, really easy to remember. The duties of parents, catechism, the new catechism, paragraph 2221. And I'm just going to read the first 3 paragraphs here, and then we can maybe unpack it a little bit. But it just hit me pretty hard. The fecundity, which is a really good word, of conjugal love cannot be reduced solely to the procreation of children, but must extend to their moral education and their spiritual formation. Okay, if you're listening to this, you're like, okay, I can do
Yep.
that.
I'm on board.
I'm on board.
I'm with you
Yep.
so far.
The
no
role of
doubt.
parents in education is of such importance that it is almost impossible to provide an adequate substitute. And I would agree with that, right? Almost impossible, not impossible, but almost. The right and the duty of parents to educate their children are primordial and inalienable. Then it goes on to 2222. Parents must regard their children as children of God and respect them as human persons. Showing themselves obedient to the will of the Father in heaven, they educate their children to fulfill God's law. You're like, okay, I got to do it. I'm in. And then here we go. Here is the breakdown, the 5 duties of parents. 2223, which is where we're going to spend some time. Parents have the first responsibility for the education of their children, period. Parents have the first responsibility for the education of their children.
Not the government, not the state,
That's
not
it.
the
Right.
public schools, not
Not
the
grandpa
private schools,
or
not
uncle,
Catholic
or
schools.
Uncle Tom or
Right.
whoever it is, right? The parents do. And you could even replace that word parent with guardian, depending on the situation, right? These children have been entrusted to you legally. It's your responsibility to raise them in the faith, right? They bear witness, and again, parents do. They bear witness to this responsibility first by, and here's the list, creating a home where tenderness, forgiveness, respect, fidelity, and disinterested service are the rule. The home is well suited for education in the virtues. This requires an apprenticeship in self-denial, sound judgment, and self-mastery, the preconditions of all true freedom. Parents should teach their children to subordinate the material and instinctual dimensions to interior and spiritual ones. And so that is what we want to unpack.
I can't wait.
disinterested service.
Disinterested service.
I'm interested in that.
We're going to get there. We got to
Okay,
go quick.
I think
We
that's
gotta
my
get there.
favorite one.
But
But
it
All
is
right.
my favorite one.
Yeah.
All right, we're here with David Williams, creator of SaintCards. He and his wife, his lovely bride.
My lovely
Kendall.
bride, Kendall. Yeah.
Yes. We'll be right back.
Is she feeling better?
She is feeling better.
Come
Thank you.
around today? Yeah.
Thank you for asking. She's feeling much better. We said a rosary for her. We offered mass for her, and she's doing great.
Great.
Just
Good.
a little, upset.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. No big
All,
deal.
all good stuff. I didn't get to finish the paragraph, so I'll do it real quick. Parents have, I won't do it on the next segment, but for those watching.
Yeah.
Parents have a grave responsibility to give good example to their children. Maybe I should read this again. By knowing how to acknowledge their own failings to their children, parents will be better able to guide and correct them. And then it goes into a quote there, but we'll spend more time up top. Anyway.
Yeah,
I
so
read
I want
that.
to make sure to, like, up top at the beginning, let's go over those 5 points again.
We'll do it again.
and then
Yep.
and then we can.
And we'll go into kind of unpacking them a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disinterested service was the one that caught me too, but it's kind of the best for last. So we want to make sure
Yeah.
we give it at least a couple minutes.
And I
at
think
the
that
end.
the others, like, it seems like they're kind of almost like prerequisites for the next one.
That's a really good observation. You
know,
totally
the-
stole my thunder, but that's okay.
Okay.
But
Sorry.
yeah, you're right. It is, because it's like without tenderness, how can you get to forgiveness?
Okay. Okay.
We'll get there.
Time.
Wait.
You got it.
Don't.
Explain
So-
this to me like I'm 5.
So
now-
good.
No, tell it to me like a five.
So good.
Okay. Let's keep going. Whenever one is ready, actually, not whenever we're ready. Just one.
It smells good in here.
Juan, you look epic.
When
With
we
your, that's like a.
when
Who's
this
the-
is like when
the
we're
guy who
done,
fixed
these will actually
everything?
kick on a lot faster.
Yeah.
And it'll circulate it a lot quicker, but it makes a little bit too much noise
Yeah.
for recording.
Who's
but
good good ambiance.
Everything out?
Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, you look like Sherlock Holmes.
the Colombian version.
El Colombiano.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. Here with David Williams and David Niles.
Thank you.
I feel a little outnumbered here this evening,
Got a
but
couple Davids.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
I should have brought my son
David Q.
Yeah, and there'd be 3
and
Davids.
my dad.
And your dad.
Yeah.
4 Davids. Too
Yeah.
much. That is too much. That is too much.
Oh.
So
Are you one, Dave?
Juan
you got there?
David.
Yeah, check
And
out
you're
that
the son
t-shirt.
of David. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So we're talking a little bit of we're talking about the duties of parents, and we just got done. David kind of read a little bit of the Catechism of 2223, and as you're reading it, Dave,
Yeah.
there was a lot of things that hit me, but one of the things that is like it's almost like the liturgy of the domestic church.
It really is.
There's the
Yeah.
Eucharistic liturgy that we all know, and we have the responses to. We know our what we're supposed to do. We know when to sit, when to stand. All of our cadences. We know
Right.
all of our responses. But a lot of times in the domestic church, there are things that we need to know and say more often, right? The
That's
I'm
true.
sorry's. I
That's
love
right.
you. Honey, how was your day?
That's right.
Thank you for dinner.
Right.
All the I'm sorry, I messed up. I'm sorry.
That's right. And that's the thing is, as fathers in the home, we have to understand, like, we are priest, prophet, and king of our domestic church. We are the presider and ultimately the one that is responsible for instituting these 5 rules. And of course, we've got our wives as the holy helpmeets, right? And with that union of husband and wife,
Holy helpers, if you will.
Holy.
Am I right?
Am I
Little
right?
Saint card joke.
Am I right? Yeah.
Deep track.
Yeah, deep tracks.
Deep tracks. I didn't expect that. It's true. It's so true. They are holy. Well, and that's the thing is creating a home, right? That's the word. They bear witness to this responsibility first by creating a home where tenderness, forgiveness, respect, fidelity, and disinterested service are the rules. So we know there's little, you go to people's bathrooms and they're like, the rules of our bathroom are brush your teeth, put the seat down.
If you
and-
sprinkle when you tinkle, be a sweetie, like wipe the seedy.
Write
Yeah.
the CD and all that kind of stuff. Well, and this is the list that the church gives to the domestic church. Like, these are the house rules.
Right.
The end. And in a way, it's an examination of conscience for husband and wife at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is our home tender? Is it filled with forgiveness? Is it filled with respect and fidelity? Is it filled with disinterested service? And we'll get to that, right? And maybe some of those you're like, yeah, we had a good day. We were tender. There was a moment where we had some kids, in a scuffle, and they said they were sorry, and it was
And I didn't
meaningful.
even hurt them.
I didn't even hurt them, or I didn't hurt them with my words or whatever. But it's a challenging list for me, because I get to the end of every day, and most of these I go, I could have probably done better there. And so then the first question is, what is tenderness, right? What does that mean? Does that mean that we're just all, bunnies and meadows, and it's just whatever, just really, everything's so sweet and butterflies in the sky? Well, really, reading rainbow hashtag. But tenderness is really like, it starts with us, our contrition, right?
Yeah.
Being tenderhearted, and I will appeal to, I won't read it all, but St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians, he gives rules for the new life. Those rules for the new life that he gives in Ephesians 4, and if I give you the right passage here, it's Ephesians 4:25 and then following. Those rules for a new life mirror precisely what the church is pulling from here. he's talking to the church that he probably knows the best in Ephesus. He lived there for 2 years. This is St. Paul. And in fact, if you go to Mass in Ephesus, you're like the sign of peace. You're like turning, and it's like St. Paul over there. And then there's St. John the Apostle. And right next to him is the Blessed Virgin Mary. And you're like, wow, okay. What was it like for Mary to go to Mass? Holy cow.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like, I have no idea, right? But in Ephesus, like...
I imagine it may have been like a sweet pain.
Oh, yeah. But to be able to receive your son, anyway...
I just think that
It's
every
cool.
day on earth for her after
I
her
know.
son had ascended into heaven would have been
Agonizing.
it would have been an agony, like
Right.
a beautiful agony. That
No wonder she was assumed, right?
offering. Right.
I mean,
right.
that's something sweet to contemplate. So you're in Ephesus. St. Paul was there for 2 years, the longest really he hung out in any particular city. So when he's writing to them as really close friends. He knows them by name. And so he is writing to his friends, and it's the rules of a new life. And that's where we get the passage that we're maybe familiar with: be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God in Christ has forgiven you. But if you look at the paragraph here, you can drop it right on top of this passage by
The
St.
one
Paul.
from the Catechism, you can
Drop it right. You can. So if you want to dig in a little bit deeper and read sacred scripture in light of this, that passage really helps to kind of bring it alive. But yeah, tender-hearted. Like, are we willing to be contrite with our children when we mess up, or are we instituting a system of tenderheartedness whenever one child has wronged the other, or a friend has wronged them, or whatever? Are they being tender on the playground? Or are they being kind? That's really a lot of what early child development is all about, is just teaching them how to be tender. Then you move to the forgiveness piece, which is someone who wrongs you. They haven't been tender to you, even though you've been tender to them. You're doing a good job being tender, but now they're being, they're not being tender back. And that happens in the household too, where, people are having a bad day or whatever it is. So then forgiveness. We got to teach forgiveness, even if they're not being tender. Wait.
Right.
Well, that doesn't seem fair, right? We have that conversation a lot.
Yeah.
Well, what about fairness and all this, right? But forgiveness is like, hey, I forgive you. I'm not going to hold you accountable. And on the last judgment, God cannot accuse you of this because I've forgiven you. That's what Fulton Sheen taught. Like, it's a big deal when a child forgives another child or whoever. Like, you're omitting that from the list. And so then there's this progression, right? You go from being tender to forgiving, and then there's this word respect. And sometimes as parents, we're like, I could use a little more respect in this house, I mean,
Mr. Rodney Dangerfield here.
What parent hasn't said
Respect.
that?
right, what parent hasn't said that?
I
And
give
so
you no
a
respect.
lot of time we look at this list and we're like, hey, it would be easy if the kids would fall in line.
I'll
But
just
no.
spank them more.
No, I mean, it's really, actually, it's a progression. It's something we really ought to hang up in our home. Maybe I should design it, just hang up in our homes, just to remind us. But what does that respect word mean? It means to look again. It's like, if I respect you, I'm looking back at you. You're specting here.
I've never thought about that, like
And I'm-
spectacles.
And I'm respecting.
like,
And
yeah,
so-
there's like a viewing.
At the core of that word is a sense of gratitude.
Respect.
You're
like,
respecting.
like seeing again.
Re just means again.
Yeah.
Like reconcile is concile,
Oh,
which
man.
means together.
Etymology. Is that
I know.
is that
Etymology.
bug? Etymology.
Etymology.
It's like, one of them is bugs.
Bugs are cool too.
It's like entomology is so cool, which is like a dumb thing to say when you're trying to talk about like what words mean.
Etymology. One letter makes all the difference, right? But it is. It's like this this respect is like you're looking back. Reconciled is you're conciled again. So it's like I'm looking back again. And so it's a sense of gratitude. It's like your children can look at you and go, I am grateful for all that you've given to me. But then there also is the challenge for us
That
as
is awesome.
parents
I really dig that.
Isn't that cool?
Thank you for telling me that.
But then with our children, what do they give us? They give us a ton. Are we giving back to them or showing our gratitude for what they're giving to us? So then respect by nature is this kind of two-way street. Now it's not so much just one way and, with tenderness or one way with forgiveness, but now there's this two-way street, this respect. And then two, along with that, we teach them the respect by going to Mass. What are we doing when we go to Mass? We're respecting. He has looked at us and now we are looking back, right? St. Jose Maria taught, like Jesus has been waiting in the tabernacle 2,000 years for you. You're going in answer to his invitation. So every time we go to Mass, we are respecting. We are looking back. And so while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. We are, we couldn't have done it without him. So this sense of gratitude that's going back. Well, if we want to institute that in the home, then there's got to be this. We've got to be willing to take that on ourselves and and share with the children what they do for you.
Right.
You know, give them that example so that they can see, oh my goodness, like they can get all filled up, and then, you know, all of a sudden they start treating their siblings in like manner as well, and maybe even someday you too. They might say thanks, Pop.
So
Right?
so this morning on the way we were driving to Mass. It was so awesome. Anna, who is she's 2, she's 3, and she said she said where we're going. I said Holy Mass. She goes, Holy Mass sometimes is boring, is what she said.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, as soon as she said that, I'm like, okay, as a dad, how do I explain this to her at a 3-year-old level to where she can understand it?
Right.
And before, like, as I was trying to,
you don't pull the no, you're boring.
right? Yeah.
No,
if you
that's,
think,
that's not the line for your
Saints don't.
3-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
The Saints never thought the Mass was boring. You know, like, so
Right.
I'm sitting there trying to figure this out. And before I could say anything, Luke, who's 7,
There you go.
said, Anna, sometimes I think Mass is boring too. But I know Jesus wants us to do it, and I love him, so we're going to go do it.
Oh, praise God.
And I was like,
That guy's getting an extra donut today.
come on now. We're going to Donut Sunday today.
We were going to donuts. Now we're going to donuts.
yeah. And I was like, I'm actually really glad he said that. You know, it was
right.
like, it was way better than I could have probably said anyway, and it was a better example.
That's
And
exactly
I was
right.
like,
Yeah. And
Moments like that make parenthood a true joy.
I looked
It's
over
true.
at
You know what I'm
Haley.
saying?
you're like,
I looked over at Haley and he said, we're doing it.
we're doing it.
This parenting thing. This parenting thing is working.
It's like when you look at your wife and you're like, I'm gonna cry.
yeah.
Like I've had
focused.
moments where it's like, oh, I gotta hold it back because
Yeah.
like one of the girls would just say something to me.
So
that's
beautiful,
Like,
yeah.
That's the most touching thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, absolutely.
But it was just like, yeah, I was like, yes, that is exactly right.
That's what you want.
So, you do things that you necessarily don't want to do
That's
because
right.
you love other
We're
people.
going because-
love
yeah,
other,
yeah.
the
somebody
wisdom
else.
there is just so
He's,
Yeah,
profound.
I was
he's
just like-
invited us, and I love him, so I wanna go.
Boom.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
so
then we've
I'm
got
sorry. It
no,
just-
that's okay. And then we've got fidelity. I know we could spend more time here, but then there's fidelity. And how do you define fidelity, right? That's where Semper Fi, you know, that faithfulness, loyalty, and all this kind of thing. But a really good word here, just for the sake of time, is trust. And there's a priest of 40 years, and who at the time I was talking to him, and God rest his soul, he passed away about 4 years ago. But he said something so profound, I'll never forget it. He said, you know, for the first 40 years of my priesthood, I said, you know, ask God to teach you how to love Him more. And then he realized, no, that's not the right word. Ask God to teach you how to trust Him more. Right? That fidelity. And if you get those 4, you're ready for disinterested service.
Which we'll pick up on the other side of this break. We're here with David Williams and Jimbo Baggins. We'll be right back.
It wouldn't be so much fun, Jim, if you didn't like it.
Yeah, if you didn't like it,
That's right. I'm so glad you have it. You put another break in. I thought we were done. I was like,
Oh, no.
we
Yeah.
got to hurry.
4 segments. Four
I'm
segments.
so
4
glad
segments.
now.
Yeah,
It
we're
used to be
good.
a 3-segment show.
No.
No.
4.
Really?
Yeah, because we would do
Well,
a drink
well,
and then the beverage.
We have 3
or the
segments
gear.
where we do.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Well,
We-
good.
the drink,
So when
gear,
you were,
and then
you
2
were on
segments.
the show,
Yeah.
we like remotely, we
Yeah.
probably did 3 segments. I bet we
Ah.
did the drink,
But we did the drink before you got on.
and then brought you on for 3 segments. Yeah.
I gotcha. Well, I'm so glad because
Yeah.
this last one deserves.
Yeah, so
I'll spend a little bit more time on fidelity,
Sure.
just a pinch, and then we need to spend the rest of the time on
Yeah,
disinterested
yeah.
service. Which,
Jim.
Joshua Thaler bought some cards tonight, and he starts RCIA soon.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
Very cool. Thank you for that.
Sweet.
That's
That'll
awesome.
be great.
Did you use the Man Show?
Hopefully
discount?
you
Hopefully.
Man Show 7.
Man Show 7. If you didn't, I can get you the refund. That's no big deal.
Yeah, if you didn't, just email him.
There's no doubt that he bought it because he was listening.
But wasn't that awesome that like
It's
Lou
so
said
cool.
That? Like,
Well, yeah,
because I was like kind of like sweating, right? You know,
yeah, like
not-
what am
not-
I supposed to say?
Like,
Like,
how do I
we're
say
going
this?
because it's important, okay?
Right, yeah, exactly.
You can't do that.
Just that's the kind of thing you keep to yourself, Anna.
Yeah. Well, right, and it is to hear that explained from the kid's perspective. It's just like you know, like I was training the same Bennett that had the great quote about the
Oh,
bald
you got to
eagle.
say this.
He
You
said,
the quote.
he said, I'm training him for his first communion, you know, just making sure he knows that what he needs to know and everything.
How old
And
is he?
He's 10 now. Yeah.
Okay.
He just turned 10. And so he said, all my kids are awesome. They all have such great quotes, but most recently well, this was a couple years ago anyway. Most recently he said the thing about the birds, but then a couple years ago we're preparing him for first communion. And I said, all right, who is the only person that can put their hands over the host and consecrate it and turn it into the body, blood, soul, and divinity. And of course, in my head, I'm like, the answer is a priest, right?
Yeah.
And so he thought about it really hard. And he's like, the only person. And he's like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, that is the answer.
Yeah.
Very good, young man.
I see. You thought like there was one person.
You got it. There's one person that can do it. He works through
I meant what
his
kind of
ministers.
person? There's one.
There's
type
one
of-
person.
There's like
you
one
know,
category of people.
maybe you should take my graduate level courses.
I was going to say that.
I was going to
That's
say
what
that.
that's
you know,
what I was going to say.
Or like Jamin, you know, my oldest son, when he was about 7, the same age, is just like, you know, Dad, it's kind of funny, you know, when at the Last Supper, Jesus was holding himself in his hands, and I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's
I
kinda
think-
weird,
I
but
think
yeah.
Saint Augustine actually talks
Yeah,
about
he probably
that.
talks about that. Yeah, I know you
Saint
haven't.
Augustine. Is
Yeah,
that who
Saint
you're talking
Augustine.
Augustine,
Yeah.
yeah, the Protestant pronunciation. No. You can say both ways. I found out, but
Yeah.
Augustine is the more common.
I
But
do
anyway,
kind of like Augustine. Like, there's just like
it is. It's cool.
that's kind of a nice.
I kind of go both
sounding.
ways.
I think the Augustine has a nice sound to it. But
Yeah.
I'm Catholic, so I say Augustine because it's like you got to be in the right crowd.
And I do it so people are like, you were Protestant once, weren't you? You know what I mean? Like I gotta stick with it. But anyway, but it's so true. Those moments come. The Lord is.
They're
so,
just like little graces.
they're little
that are
graces
like-
that the Lord is like, you know what? You know, Adam and Haley, like, you know, you
And
guys.
they always come
the
at the right
investment-
time because you're always like, it's always like, I don't know if we're even doing this right. You know,
Yeah.
you're having doubts,
Yep.
and then it's like, God's like, it's okay. You're right. You're not doing it right, but I'm giving
But
you
it's
a
okay. I'm filling it in. I'm
Right,
filling
right.
It.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, good. You know?
Hashtag
right.
divine mercy.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
Hashtag reading rainbow. I've never hashtag reading rainbow in my life,
Now you have.
but I did
How did
tonight.
it feel? It seemed like it went well.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
I got some good book
I still
recommendations
picture
from the
him
show.
like with
And that's a wrap.
the eye, like he's doing the reading rainbow with like the eye. I don't know what you call that. The Star Trek.
The Star Trek guy.
Vision.
Yeah. Lamar, what's his name? Lamar Burton. Yeah.
Burton.
Yeah.
LeVar
you know,
Burton.
like his.
Yeah.
Like I picture him on Reading Rainbow, reading books with that like
He was great.
Star Trek seeing.
He was
the
great.
Star Trek glasses.
I grew
Like,
up. I
whatever
grew
you
up with a
call
man.
those.
He's a good guy.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just try to speak more to the mic.
You got it.
Sometimes you're like moving and your voice. sounds
we all
different
do,
when you're in
but
the
You
mic.
got
if
it.
you're back,
If I go over here,
if you're back here,
That's good right there. You're
it's
good
too-
right there.
I'll stay right here.
Yeah.
You got it.
Juan keeps us on our.
That's good.
Reading Rainbow.
Thank you, Sure SMB7.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. That's what
These are really nice.
They really
I
are.
really like these mics.
I do too.
Let us continue.
It is right.
You think that's 2 hours?
I started it once after we started. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan and David Williams, Juan Posada, and Jimbo Baggins.
Jimothy.
We're talking about stuff that parents have to do. If you don't, you're slacking. Don't be slacking.
Don't be slacking. You got 5 things.
So I have to tell a story though, briefly. Adam,
Is this a true one?
This is a true story. All my stories are true, as everyone knows. I never tell untrue stories. Even my jokes are true.
Except-
at least in the beginning.
That's a nice portfolio.
At least in the beginning, my jokes are all true. But this is not a joke. This is
Okay.
just really funny.
Okay.
We were on our way walking over to your house, actually.
Okay.
And I was asking Elizabeth, do you happen to know, because we passed, I have an American flag outside the house 24/7.
Yeah.
And I said, do you know the Pledge of Allegiance? And to my surprise, she, I don't know where she learned it, but she said, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. I'm sorry. I missed it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation to rule them all.
Oh wow! So mixing a little Lord of the Rings
It was so-
with her pledge.
and she just stopped and looked up at me and smiled like, I did it.
I did it.
One nation to rule them all.
Yes.
And I was like,
One nation.
like,
Yes.
yes.
America.
Happy 4th of July weekend, everybody. Yeah. That's when the stories start to cross and they just become hilarious.
But also, David, I want you
Yes.
to tell your story.
Oh
about
yeah, speaking
your
of
America
national
story.
Yeah, well, I was just sharing with them that Benjamin Franklin's submission for the national bird. the national iconic emblem of our nation was the turkey, and there's nothing wrong with the turkey. It's beautiful. It's got a lot of great qualities, but it's delicious. And so he submitted that, and I was just sharing that little tidbit with the kids, like, hey, the turkey was almost our national symbol. And then my son Bennett was like, that would have been kind of funny to eat bald eagle for Thanksgiving. And we all just cracked up. We're like, you got to be kidding me. Can you imagine? Like,
obviously we'd be eating bald eagle.
We just have to swap it.
Just swap it out.
You can't flip places.
We can't kill turkeys now because it's a national bird. So I guess we'll have to kill bald eagles. Anyway, so Alaska would have this new tray that they would send them down to the Great 48. And anyway,
have you ever seen a bald eagle with your own eyes?
In my backyard, man.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
They are incredible, majestic.
They're scary.
They're
majestic. And when you're raising chickens, it's not ideal, so that's that's the other part. Like, you're like, wow, and you're like, oh, I should probably set the dog outside,
please don't
just
come.
to make sure.
Please don't come over here.
It's got to be a big dog.
He's not. He thinks he's big, but he's fast.
My parents have a schnauzer.
He's good with the chicken stuff.
And I think the bald eagle would look at the chicken and the schnauzer and be like, yeah, I'll take.
Yeah, he's sizable enough where I don't think an eagle could grab. Maybe they could.
I have seen YouTube videos of bald eagles carrying off goats.
Then they could. But it's just a size thing.
They can't achieve lift with the goat.
Yeah.
But they can if the goat's hanging out on the mountainside, as they often do in the wild.
Yes.
The bald eagle
will come down and get them
and grab them and coast.
Which is why it's a cooler national symbol. Let's just be honest.
With a goat.
Yeah.
We're talking about a goat.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Juan
is giving us the
bald
signal
eagles
to
are
keep
scary.
going. Yeah.
They are. They're beautiful.
Okay.
I'm glad they're a national symbol. Anyway, I thought that was funny.
I don't think we'd have the same respect internationally if we chose the turkey.
Probably not.
I think that
it would have a different feel.
Yeah.
Different feel. Yeah, so we were just touching on fidelity just briefly. I mean, the key word there is trust, right? And so you can see kind of a progression here, right? We're tender, we're starting to forgive each other. Now there's a sense of respect. But even if, let's just look at this list in the context of teaching your kids the faith, right? Now they're going to mass. They're saying the beautiful things that your son's saying, right? It's like, we're going because we love him, right? Yeah. But then there's this kind of, in a sense, kind of a final step of trust. Like, no matter what you ask me to do, no matter what vocation you're calling me to, this is what we want in our children, right? Is this trust in God. In the end, I, as a parent, shouldn't care if they trust me. I kind of do want them to trust me because I want to be trustworthy. Right. But ultimately, my goal is to teach them to trust God. It's our responsibility to introduce them to divine fatherhood, right? So then, as the Catechism teaches too. So it's like this is the moment where you're like your child is grown, and they're like, I'm going to Jesus, I trust in you. I give you my life. If every one of our children does that, whatever age, we as parents can and go, praise be Jesus Christ.
Right, exactly.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you to the Blessed Virgin Mary and all the saints for interceding for this, because that's the step that we really want to prepare them for. And this is the reason why when a child does something to break trust in the home, whether it be they lie to you or they lie to their siblings or they said they were going to do one thing and they don't do it, you got to nip it in the butt right away. No matter what what the small thing is, because what that turns into at 15 and 35 is pretty ugly. Right. And so then you nip that in the bud, but then at the same time, you immediately turn that to, hey, this is not so much a me problem here. I'm a fallible man. God's given me a pretty big responsibility. It's my job to introduce you to God the Father here.
Right.
And ultimately, the disrespect and the distrust that you've instituted in this moment, right, is putting you off kilter with him, and he loves you. He wants you to respond to him. He wants you to trust him. And really, if you can teach your kids, like it's Jesus has got his hand open, you just got to grab it and hold on. And if they do that, they're off to the races. You win. And that's why that last one, disinterested service, is kind of, in a sense, a natural result of plowing through these first four. And this is something that is really difficult to teach, disinterested service, because we say, hey, can you go clean your bedroom? Would I get ice cream for it? Hey, can you go do this for your sibling? Well, they haven't done anything for me lately. Or we get this asked at work all the time. Can you help this person? Well, am I going to get a promotion? I mean, we're constantly looking for some sort of recompense or reward.
Yeah.
And even in the Christian life, and this is somewhat paradoxical, because it's like, St. Francis de Sales said, it's fine. Imperfect contrition is you don't want to go to hell. Fine. That's better than nothing.
Yeah, it is good enough.
Good enough, but then you can long to be in
we're
heaven.
We're not shooting for good enough.
Right. You can long to be in heaven, which is even better. Perfect. This is more perfect. But then there's an even higher levels, and Francis de Sales teaches, which is just loving God for his own sake, regardless of the prize. Even if you didn't have heaven waiting for me,
right?
Even if you didn't have any promise of a crown or jewels or anything like that, I would still love you for your own sake because I trust you. You have shown a tender heart toward me. You've forgiven me. You've respected me. You've been faithful to me. Then the only response is disinterested service. And that's why St. Paul can use that word slave all the time. It's like, whatever you say, I'm yours.
That's why Job is such a big deal.
That's why Job's such a big deal. And we see that
in the writing of the saints. I mean, like you read Teresa of Avila.
Right.
I mean, that is just so clear that she has this disinterested love for God. The little flower, Saint Therese of Lisieux.
That's right.
Also clearly just total Saint Faustina, this abandonment of themselves to God. Do whatever they say. God, if it's your will to send me to hell, that's where I want to go.
Right.
Just this total.
I love your will so much.
Almost illogical.
Right.
Abandonment.
Obviously, that would never be his will.
That would never be his will. But it's a resignation.
They just are just 100. That's almost how much they're abandoning themselves.
They've conformed their will so much to where
it's a hyperbolic thing that they would say. Like if they were to say those words, that would be hyperbole. But that's how they feel, just whatever your will is.
And isn't that what we dream of in the home, is disinterested service? Really, if we stop and think about it, like the child walks through the hall, sees the piece of clothing on the ground, picks it up, folds it, puts it away, and doesn't tell anybody, right? That's like it seems like so far off, right? But at the same time, that is an example of disinterested service. And so it kind of pulls in all those other parenting techniques, like, well, if you're paying your kids to do their chores, you may not be teaching them what disinterested service is. Or if you are offering ice cream for something that is, helping the family. And really what we're trying to do is to teach them how to love their family so much that they're willing to do whatever it takes for the family. Right. And then we go back to sacred scripture in this, particularly this passage in Ephesians, where St. Paul is writing the rules for the new life. And he's talking to his beloved children. He is the father. Right, talking to his children, giving them these instructions. And so the church takes this and goes, well, these are our instructions. This is what all fathers should be teaching their children to do. And if we are championing that, especially as men in the home, then our wives then have the freedom to just fall into that, and whether they're enforcing or they're offering insights on how that can happen. Talk about a cool conversation with your wife. Hey, how can we improve tenderness and forgiveness and respect and fidelity and disinterested service? I guarantee you, every single problem in the home fits into those 5 in one way, shape, or form.
And for us, as men and the leaders of the house, we first have to strive for it ourselves. This disinterested service. I think there's a lot of guys out there who they do the dishes for their wives and are expecting something.
That's right. Hey, give me a pat on the back. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like, hey, I did the dishes for you tonight, honey. What are you going to do for me? And I also think that this is why the saints are so important in the lives of our families. I just know that, and to kind of bring it back to SaintCards, just because the saints really do give us, not only for us, but for our children, this perfect example. We've been, reading about the little flower to our children, and, turns out that, one of the things that they did in their family, they would have these beads that they would pull. They would pull a bead if they did a good turn for the Lord. Saint Teresa's older sister would often do this, and so we made my wife made these like beads to pull for our girls, and so they will do it now. And I'll see my Elizabeth, my oldest daughter, she's 5, like go over and pull one, and like. She won't tell anybody about it.
That's awesome.
It's like her secret
thing
that she's doing for the Lord.
Right.
And I just cannot express the way that makes me feel as her father.
That's right.
Sure. Has to.
It's huge.
Because ultimately
she's doing something for the Lord that I'm not.
That's right.
And
this pattern really, in the end, can be applied to the way we treat our wives, right?
Right.
This is our list. Are we treating our wives with these top 5? Are we completely given over to her?
Yeah.
Are we
key.
dying to self? I mean, that's ultimately what it is.
That is.
You're dying to yourself.
Let's wrap
exactly
this
right.
up a little bit afterwards. Here,
Oh, you
just
want
for our
to?
Facebook, yeah, just for our Facebook crowd. You know?
I'm in.
Yeah,
And the
let's do it.
podcast. But
We can keep going.
David, appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We're on the Lord's
the
team.
winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
I left a little bit for the end, but I was talking a lot too. So.
I
Well, that's why you're here.
I drank.
So what do
mine.
you think? What do you think?
I thought it was delicious.
No, I
Honestly.
thought it was great.
No, I
Isn't it
really
good?
do. Yeah, I think it was delicious.
Well, I'll keep it in the fridge so whenever you guys come up,
Okay.
we can have another one.
I would like to. I would like that. No, I mean, ultimately, like the very end when you were talking about disinterested service, all I thought about is like all you're doing is you're teaching your son and your daughters
Yep.
to die to self, to
That's
stop
it.
thinking about yourself.
That's it.
To how can I help?
It's what you said before the show started. It's I'm selfish. I want to be selfless. That is
Right.
it. Right.
Right.
So you have
that's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Have you had this
I
before?
need to finish my beer.
Here, let's give this one to him.
No. But there is a
This is the week of Pete Belvini.
the Balvini. Oh my goodness.
It's
Hold on.
so good. You're gonna really like that. I believe so.
Oh.
You're gonna pour it in your beer glass.
That's
I
a
expect something in return when I go get more.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will give
we're
you
still
a pat
working
on, the
on
back.
disinterested service with
I will
Juan. That's
definitely give
okay.
you a pat on the back.
We're-
Juan, post out everybody.
Are-
Hey, Juan, you're gonna pass by the
Come
camera
on
and not
now.
even say
hi
hi?
to everybody.
Hold on.
Are we still at? But we're at the respect level with him at least, right? We're at least moved to respect.
Look,
Fidelity showed
Yeah.
up today.
yeah. Look at this. Producer.
Producer.
There you go.
Hey.
Producer.
One has many qualities. Fidelity is definitely one of them.
I want one. I want
Thank you
one.
for the compliment.
Yeah, it is.
Look at that mustache.
And honestly,
Caterpillar.
every volunteer ever is disinterested service in a sense. I mean, if you're volunteering for something, so he's probably the whole package.
He is.
He definitely is. Anyway, but you're right. It is that death to self. And what it just hit me like a wave at the end, and we didn't have any time. But it's like it really is a good checklist for us as husbands to go. This is really the approach. This is my rap sheet. This is my playbook for the way that I treat my wife.
Yeah.
Am I tender toward her? Do I forgive her? Am I respectful of her? Am I faithful? And then do I serve her? Yes, dishes, but it doesn't matter. Whatever it is.
Right.
Even if her priority is way different than my priority of what I should do on a Saturday, right? Like I'm ready to work. I'm a working man. I'm a supportive husband, but I want to do what I want to do on a Saturday. And she's like, no. I need you to unclog this drain, but I want to go clean the garage. No, it's a bigger deal. No,
Yeah.
So it's like we're kind of in a sense giving ourselves a pat on the back because we're already we're serving, but there's also that fine detail of like serving in the most prioritized
What's the best way to do it?
What's
right.
what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, that's why you let her prioritize the honeydew list.
It really is true.
Yeah. I mean, you might think that, this is most important. She might disagree.
Yeah. We should type it up sometime and compare honeydew lists just
Yeah.
for fun.
I do think that would be funny.
Just see what's at the top.
Mine's longer.
I don't know, but that's a
You
good
have
thing.
you have a homestead.
We have a little homestead. Yeah. I mean, so there's a little, got
You have-
pets and
what do you say? How many acres? 5 acres?
we got 7 acres.
7 acres.
Yeah. And so we got, we did a lot of
So
planting this year.
a honeydew list on 7 acres is definitely
Yeah.
going to be.
But a lot of the
Never
outside work.
ending.
The boys are such a great help with the outside.
Okay.
They do a good job.
So one of the things that I tell people about you is like goals. These are like goals for myself. Is that
I want to be like the Williams
on
family.
a Saturday
Oh, you guys are
morning,
nice.
Saturday mornings at the Williams house, David and
That
Kendall
one's for you.
are
Next one's for
maybe
Kathy.
sitting outside drinking coffee on the porch while the children are making the pancakes.
Right. Well, and it doesn't happen every Saturday.
Okay.
Because the children now are kind of going through a phase where they really are becoming very accustomed to mother's cooking, and they realize, wait,
kidding.
even if we do make it, which is a nice thing to do, like it doesn't taste as good. And so there's this little bit of like, anyway, but yeah, it is. We get the coffee, we go out, and my wife and I, we really try. I'm gonna hold on. Let me do this real quick.
You're gonna really like that.
That is delicious.
It is really good.
Wow.
Hey, can I just give
I
a
never
shout
had
out?
that.
I meant to do this on the episode, but Patrick Copeland commented during the episode that he had just finished playing SaintCards with his kids.
Patrick Copeland, thank you for that. Yeah, I remember Patrick. I sent him SaintCards.
Yeah, and Joshua Thaler he just ordered some tonight.
Awesome.
He's in RCA right now, so I just want to give a shout out to
Very
those
cool.
people.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's faith is fun to talk about.
The Saints are awesome.
They are.
I've said this before. I hate the phrase WWJD. We talked about this the other day. Just because, like, what would Jesus do? I don't know. He would probably do something like a miracle, know what other people were thinking, and call them out on it. I mean, like, all kinds of stuff that I cannot do because I'm not God.
Right.
But the real bracelet should be, what would the Saints do? Because whatever the Saints do,
right,
they're normal people like me, and I could do whatever. Like their possibilities, generally speaking,
right,
are my possibilities.
And
they certainly have gifts that I don't have, but I have gifts that they don't have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes God gives them God powers, like Padre Pio or John Vianney. You know, it's like
exactly.
If you can bilocate, I mean, that's got to be a God power.
Right.
You know,
but the thing is, they're
that's big stuff.
Human persons. You know, like
trilocation, right? That's what we want to do.
Well, that's what I do.
We got to be taking a nap.
Bilocation is like it's kid stuff. Right.
It's so 19th century.
Like, talk to me when you're.
There's going to be a.
Okay.
This is the bilocators expansion. There's going to be a trilocators expansion someday.
It's just David Niles.
David Niles.
Just David Niles.
And his kids, because they're holy.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Who was the first saint to bilocate? David.
Oh, the first saint.
I know.
To bilocate.
Oh, this is good. I'm going to say Saint Drogo. Oh, no. St. Ambrose of Milan. Oh, hold on. St. Ambrose of Milan bilocated. He was in the 4th or 5th century. Hold on.
You're off by about 4 centuries.
Well, okay. So in the
about
early
4 or 5
church, are you talking about the transportation of the vision, or is it Philip or Peter in sacred scripture?
No.
Okay, this is a trick question because he's got a grin. Okay, let's hear it.
It's not a trick question, is it?
It's not a trick question. It's our Heavenly Mother.
Yeah, Mary.
Oh, right.
Bilocated to St. James when he was going to be martyred.
Yeah, like the very first Marian apparition was before she was dead.
Right. Oh, wow.
And so they knew that she was. They didn't no, she wasn't there, but she did appear to St. James.
Well, I feel bad, Blessed Virgin Mary.
It's okay.
I got that
That's,
one wrong.
You know, it's also
That is a super cool story,
tracks,
though.
Deep tracks.
We're gonna have to add to that expansion now.
Well, and so she appeared in top of a pillar in Spain.
Yeah, Our Lady of
And
Pilar.
Our Lady of,
Well, that's where we get Our Lady of the Pillar.
yeah.
We've got a beautiful parish in St. Louis called Our Lady of the Pillar. Yeah. So okay,
Wait, so St. Ambrose bilocated?
St. Ambrose is a bilocator. He's the first in this now defunct set because I don't have the Blessed Virgin Mary in there.
He was like,
It's now defunct. I can't sell anymore now. But it is. It's
and I'm never coming on the show. This is the worst.
And
Juan.
Juan ruined it for everybody.
A golden card.
But it is such a cool. Well, and that's what's neat about this too. I mean, there's been a couple things. Honestly, we've got now over almost 500 cards, and so we've got about 3,500 facts that we're working with now. And every once in a while, we'll get a contestation, a very friendly, like, hey, did you know that there's another side story here? And so we'll take a look at it, and if it's convincing enough, or there's a little bit of a back and forth, we'll always go with the more conservative. In other words, if there's some dispute about he really wasn't born in the 4th century, he was born in the 5th century, and if we get a couple sources, I mean, every single fact is meticulously researched, and we spend a lot of time with that. But like just now, I learned a story that I'd never heard before. And now, when we reprint bilocators, we might have a little Blessed Virgin Mary card in there. Just a wild card.
I feel like I text you a lot, like
Throw
hey,
a little wild card in
why
there.
is this apostle a deacon versus whatever? And they're like,
And then
I'll think this has got to be wrong. And then you'll text me and you're like, oh,
yeah.
I did not know that.
And it is. It's a vast study. Hagiography is fascinating, and hagiography.
What is that?
It literally means
that
a
like
study.
entomology?
It's the study of the writings of the saints by definition, but it's also used as a word that describes any sort of study of the saints.
Okay.
Right? So their lives, their writings, what they did.
So that is where
That's what
means
this is.
Specifically studying the saints.
This is a hagiographical project. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what that is. So anyway, but yeah, all that to say,
That sounds very cool.
it does sound cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is cool.
eh,
And now it sounds
I don't
cool.
know. I don't know if there's an official I'm now a hagiographer. I think you have to go to school for that though.
Can you be a hagiologist?
Probably.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you think you are? I mean, like,
I mean,
You have the
in a
spreadsheet to
in a
be
ru-
one.
in a rudimentary sense, probably.
yeah.
But then there's hagiographers that will devote their entire lives to studying one saint. And so it's like, how can you even touch that? Like Like St. Alphonsus Liguori wrote over 700 books.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you can read all of them in your lifetime.
So my brother-in-law is a official publisher of St. Alphonsus Liguori.
Oh yeah, up in Missouri or Liguori.
No. So he's here in
Okay.
Broken Arrow.
All right.
But he studied at the NAC in Rome, so he knew Italian, and found a book, like the book that was one of the reasons that St. Alphonsus became a doctor of the church. His book about like 4 confessors, like here's how to hear confession well.
Oh wow.
Was not translated into English.
So did he translate it?
No, but he found some people who did in the 70s. He found
Is
like a
he
PDF.
reprinting it?
He found a PDF online.
Oh, that's great.
Of these 2 doctors who had done it in the 70s who tried to get it published and no one would publish it. And so he said, "Hey, I found this. Can I publish it for you?" And they said, "Yes, please do." Because now you can self-publish anything.
Right.
So he did. And now he's like the publisher of
No, I want a copy.
St.
I
Alphonsus Liguori in
gotta hop
English.
on and check it out.
And he makes like 1 penny for each.
Yeah.
He's like doing it for free.
Get it out there.
All he did was
I want a copy.
digitize. He took the PDF that they had and digitized, like, put it into words.
Yeah.
Text, and
That's awesome.
yeah.
But
It
that's
is.
just one book.
Just one book.
From a man who wrote 700 of them, and that's just
Right.
one. That's just one Saint card. So in other words, there's probably a breadth that I've covered that may be of note, but like the depth piece, that's all that SaintCards is. It's just a way to kind of introduce you to the saints, so that you can go, oh, I want to learn more about them. So anyway,
It is very awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what I also really love about it? It's a game that 2 people can play. So my wife and I sometimes, like, the kids are down. Sometimes we want to play a game. There are not a lot of 2-player games. There's a lot of 3-player games.
yes, there's some 4.
But and 4-player games, right? But the number shrinks drastically when you get to a 2-player
Right.
game, And so this is a game 2 people can play and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big deal for me.
And if you don't want to play SaintCards, you can play Go Fish too. I mean, that's
could.
another 2-player game.
Or if you have more people, you can play Texas Hold'em.
Chess is another 2-player game.
You can turn.
My wife does not. If my wife liked chess, we would play chess every day.
But she
What
likes
about
SaintCards.
checkers?
Checkers, no.
You can turn.
Don't insult me.
You can turn the cards into
your
guess
checkers.
who.
You can. In fact, we if you got headbands, have you ever seen that game where you get the head thing around? We'll get the kids, we'll put them like this, and then the other kids will be like, "You were born in the 19th century, passed away in the 19th century. You're 2 or more gathered, and you're a layperson, and your feast month is July." And you're like, Saints Louis and Nazali Marie
That
Martin.
would be fun.
It's so fun.
Like for a party, you having a Catholic party.
Yeah. The 2021 collection, just wait, it's coming.
That would be so
It's
awesome.
it's so fun. Yeah, and the kids love it too. I mean,
That would be like
they enjoy it.
an inverse masquerade. Like instead of you being the only one who knows who you are, you're the only one who doesn't know who you are.
There you
know
go.
what I mean?
There you go. Some fun ways to do it.
That would be awesome. And forever you would know, like whoever that saint is, maybe it's an obscure one, because there are some what some people would think are obscure saints. There are a lot of obscure saints that people have never heard of.
There are.
They're all important, but if you went to a party like that, forever you would know.
That'd be pretty
that
cool.
saint. Yeah.
Hey, one encouragement I have is write that down. What your son said. Put it in a journal of the cute quotes that you hear your kids say. It doesn't even have to be about the faith, although those are the money ones. But the cute quotes, if you can write them down, or even if you don't have a journal, like you put them on Facebook or Instagram or something, just keep them, because you will forget them.
Well, that's why I also
and
like try
that
to
is
say.
such good advice.
That's why I try
Yeah.
to actually say, like in our first segments. Sometimes when something happens, like in our lives, like I try to say it.
Yeah, that way it's recorded.
That's why it's recorded.
It's on Facebook now.
You know,
yeah.
That way.
I have thought about that in theory, when I die, my children will still be able to go back and listen to our podcast.
That's right.
right. Yeah, and
They might even be watching this right now, 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
Yeah,
Cheers.
and like I'll be
Our
dead.
dads
and
were so dumb,
and,
but
like,
they
yeah,
loved
yeah.
Jesus.
back when my dad was handsome,
That's all we want them to say.
he
Yeah.
wasn't very smart, but he sure was funny back then. But you know what?
Dude,
Looks
you
aren't
think you're
everything.
kidding? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we tell a lot of dad jokes.
Yeah,
like-
but that's why I actually say some of those things on purpose.
Right. That's
You
a
know,
good
so
idea.
That way, I like it'll be like later on in life, I can come back and listen to it and be like, oh, I forgot that Jude did that. I forgot Luke did that.
Yeah.
Like, I try to make that part of sometimes our first segment where
And then you got to start telling the good dad jokes. Have you guys been into dad jokes for a long time?
Yeah.
Just like my boss told me to have a good day.
Too long yet.
Yeah, my boss told me to have a good day, so I went home. Things like that.
Yeah.
Really good ones.
You said to have a good day.
You told me to have a good day, so I just went home.
So I went home. I was going to have a terrible day if I stayed here at work. Not going to be good at all.
But good dad jokes are they're hard to come by.
They really are. They're a special breed of joke, you know?
They are.
You know how you can tell a dad joke from an otherwise joke?
Mm-mm.
The punchline is apparent.
Yeah, see, that's good.
Okay, that's a good.
We could have a dad joke off.
No, we will end.
A dad joke off someday. Good to be with everybody.
All right.
Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
guys.
seriously,
Thanks, man.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming and spending time with us.
You bet. Always
It's
a
a
pleasure.
blessing to our listeners and
Yep.
myself.
Oh.
And mainly me.
Oh.
And Adam.
And me.
Adam so
Mainly
much.
me.
But we're like really
Because
so
that's what
much
we
Adam.
learned today, right? It's about me.
It's about
Me.
Well, it's about disinterested service, Adam. It really is.
So I need to go
I
back
want
and
you to be-
re-listen.
I want you to be disinterested in serving me.
Yeah.
That's the
right.
takeaway. I'm
That's
taking.
right. Just
Where I
lay your
am.
life down. Lay your life
For
down
me.
for your family. Yeah, for your family.
I'm just right. I'm over here just waiting for you to be
you.
about me.
Yeah.
Just rewatch the episode.
This is the worst,
Maybe you should
and
start
I'm
from
never
the
coming
beginning.
back on.
From the very beginning.
I will be back. I will be back if they let me. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.